Hello everyone, my name is Millie. And yes, I have a tube in my nose. Just thought I'd tell you in case you didn't notice. It's a feeding tube and it goes to my small intestine, and I'll have a permanent one placed actually in my abdomen in a few weeks. So I know everyone always wants to know about it when they meet me, so I thought I'd just tell you right off the bat what it is. And some of you might know me from either Team Potsy Productions. I've been subbing for not that long, maybe a few months, and then I have my own channel called Flying High, and I've had it since December of '07, but I've only started blogging in the past, 9 months or so, really enjoyed it. And when Nina and I were talking one day, and just the Lord sort of seemed to bring this idea up, we were both really excited about it, so I'm really honored and blessed to know her, and I'm excited to be doing this with all the girls, and young ladies on this channel. So, just thought I would tell you a little bit about myself. My story's kind of long. I was born at a very young age, and I had a pretty normal childhood. I had a lot of fun growing up. I ran around from morning till night, and I developed asthma and a few other problems, and I always had a lot of sort of problems with my joints that we now know are just hypermobile joints. Not any major problems, but I was always, spraining my ankle very severely and just spraining joints and things like that. So that was kind of the extent of my childhood. Low blood pressure. I always had low blood pressure, and I always was a little lightheaded and dizzy off and on, but it would be very sporadic. It wasn't constant. So that was the beginning of my dysautonomia journey. And when I started playing sports more actively and competitively, it came out more and more, particularly with soccer when you're out in the sun and you're running up and down that field. And I would just be running blind much of the time, and no one would know it. And I thought it was just normal. I thought everyone, felt that way. So, and then by 6th grade, things started getting a little bit worse. 8th grade, I just, all of the time, I felt awful. And by my junior year, I was very disabled by my pain. And we know now that I had reflex neurovascular dystrophy in my stomach and in all my muscles and joints. And, but at that time, it was mostly affecting my stomach. And I also had I was pretty symptomatic with my reflux. I had gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD. And my asthma, and I would have constant asthma attacks. But we now know POTS was a big part of, like, my pulmonary function tests weren't horrible, but I would be so symptomatic when I would get an asthma attack. And that's just because natural POTS symptoms, I'm sure, with asthma. I don't know if anyone else has asthma and POTS, but the two of them together was not very good. And anyway, the reason I'm leading up all of these things together is that it was a Tuesday, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I wasn't in pain for the first time, and my pain debilitated me so much that I could almost do nothing. In school I just cried all day. I didn't really do much. I could barely walk down the halls. Teachers would, scoop themselves underneath my shoulder and help me walk, or students would, and I couldn't do much. I'd been admitted for scopes and everything was fine, and it was just IBS, they told me, and to kind of not get over it, but kind of to get over it and keep living. It's hard when you're in a 10 pain all the time. And I woke up and I wasn't in pain, and I just felt the Lord's presence, and I was so amazed, and I knew it was from him. I knew, because I never woke up not in pain, particularly not in pain like that, with just such peace and overwhelming feeling of him being there, and it was just incredible. And I just started claiming it. I was not going to lose that. That was my healing. That was mine. So I just, I took that and then claimed it, and I woke up my parents, and we all prayed, and we all claimed it. And a week later, at the same time, at 4:30 in the morning, and again on a Tuesday, I woke up, and after having an asthma attack the night before, I'd stopped all my asthma medications along with my stomach medications out of faith that night. The next morning, just I felt led to. I felt very led to stop them, but I had an asthma attack the night before, but I couldn't find my inhaler, my emergency inhaler, so I just went to bed and hoped that I wouldn't stop breathing. I didn't think I was going to die, but I hoped that I wouldn't have wake up not breathing, because that would happen to me sometimes. And so I woke up again at 4:30, and I just took a deep breath, just kind of waking up, and I was like, that's the most beautiful air, and it just came and flowed in and out of my lungs, and I'm just still doing it now to this day. It's just so nice. So I do have some decrease in my breathing now from being weak, but not asthma. But it's just no wheezing, and I would make horrible. I was so loud. I would just go, I'm making the sound now with my vocal cords, but I would just wheeze my head off. I was so loud. And he healed me that night of my asthma, and I got bored holding my breath. I wanted to see how long I could hold my breath, and kept holding it, and I was like, I want to go tell my parents. I'm really getting bored, so it was cool. I just told everyone I got bored holding my breath that night. It's asthmatic, so. And one of the nights after the healing, Satan was really attacking me, and God washed me over with this, literally, he washed me with this incredible peace. In fact, I always say that I think that's the first time I've ever truly felt a taste of what heaven's going to be like. I know it's going to be 10 million times greater, but I just really felt like it was a piece of heaven, and 3 times he washed it over me, and I fell right asleep, and he just kind of punched out Satan for me. And then a year later, again, it was a Thursday, and it was around 4:30, and he took my R&D that had settled in my joints. And R&D is very painful. It causes tremors and temperature changes, and it affects your life. And I was inpatient in the hospital for several weeks for it, doing physical therapy. And it's not just pain. It affects everything. So he healed that in the very exact same way. So I just praise him all the time for that. I cannot imagine having those things now on top of what I have. So I do have dysautonomia in POTS. My dysautonomia affects a lot of different things, but we're not quite sure of everything yet. We know I have some dysmotility in my stomach. Some say I have dysmotility in my small intestine. I have dysphagia, which is why I have this feeding tube. And I have hypermobility syndrome, joint hypermobility syndrome, which caused my POTS, so that HMS is genetic. So while my POTS isn't genetic, the reason for my POTS is, and it's just kind of a collagen problem, so my collagen's really elastic, and my joints sort of sublux a lot. I don't dislocate, thankfully. I have scoliosis pretty severely, so that causes me some pain, but I manage it pretty well with chiropractic care and that. But it does affect me, and those are just kind of the main issues I'm dealing with at the moment. And I grew up playing sports and playing volleyball. That was so fun to volleyball, and I've been playing the piano since I was 9 years old. And no, 8 years old, I apologize. And I started riding when I was 11, riding horses, and I've shown a couple of times. I didn't do it that much, but I did enjoy that. And but horses were a big part of my life. I love them. If you look around my room, it's kind of ridiculous. There's so many horses everywhere. Horses and pictures. So that's a big part of who I am and what I love. And I love friends and I love people and I love talking. And I am a big fan of scrapbooking. And what else do I like? I've always loved to read, but I struggle with reading now. Actually, I usually wear glasses in here. I have my glasses on like all the time. It's really unusual for me not to have them on. And yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment. But I just love life and love doing things, and I do use a wheelchair. I struggle with, aside from my orthostatic intolerance, I struggle with having one half of me go either paralyzed or incredibly weak, depending on the severity of the episode. So I think I have hemiplegic migraines. I forgot about my migraines. I have complicated migraines, and where I get confusion spells, and then hemiplegic migraines, we think. I'm supposed to see a specialist to kind of confirm the diagnosis. I'm hoping that is my diagnosis and we can just be done. So, well, I think this is getting entirely too long, so I'm going to say goodbye and thank you. It's very nice to meet you all, and hopefully this channel will be an encouragement, and I know it's going to be to me. I think it already has been an encouragement to me, just sort of thinking about it, and the more things I have in my life that revolve around God, is the more that I'm going to revolve my whole life around Him, and that's all I really want. So, but sometimes it's hard to remember and focus on that all the time. Life gets in the way, doesn't it? So that's not what I want to happen. Much love and blessings, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.